Hi, my name is Hawa Saipol from Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you so much for being on my channel. I came across this video a few days ago and I thought I'd share it with you. I absolutely love travel. I love the travel industry and I love learning about business. So enjoy this video. Make sure that you give me a huge thumbs up. Leave me some comments if you see value in it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and click on the notification bell so that way you'll know when I have upcoming videos. Enjoy, guys.
Great evening again. My name is Jessica Johnson. I'm going to be your host this evening, but I'm going to move myself out of the way very quickly because I know you all are here and excited to hear this information from our speaker. As you're coming in the line, I do want to have a couple of house rules. We will be getting questions answered at the end of the Zoom, but if you would like to drop questions in the chat, feel free to do so. Well, tonight's speaker is the one and only Mr. Rodney K. Lamb. Now, he is our certified tax resolution specialist. You all are going to get to hear all of his accolades here soon, but just know that he is the owner and CEO with well over 2 decades of tax experience in this industry. Now, he's been voted the top tax firm in Dallas, Texas over and over again by Dallas.com, and he's currently the #1 reviewed tax professional in all of the United States by PTIN.org. Now, he's also been voted the best tax service by Expertise, and he currently holds an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau for well over a decade. And can I tell you, he has had zero financial complaints. I am one of his clients, and I can definitely say I am very, very glad that I was introduced to Mr. Rodney K. Lamb on a Zoom just like this. So, Mr. Lamb, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me okay? I wouldn't miss it.
Oh, I'm glad you are here. I can hear you, and I'm excited for everyone to be able to gain this information from you this evening. Again, you definitely changed my tax strategy with this information, so I'm excited for you to do the same for everyone that's on the line.
I just want to say thank you, Dr. Johnson. I mean, it's clients like you who make this so easy for me because I'll share with everybody. Without you, there is no me. And so I'm just a smart dude with a bunch of information if I don't have a client with a testimony sharing that this information is real. So I appreciate you, Dr. Johnson. Director Broner, I appreciate you for giving the opportunity, opening me up to the family, letting me share this information with all these travel agents because I truly believe this information can change lives. And so if you're watching this presentation, please take notes for me this evening. Ask some good questions. Questions really get us to the answers. And let's make sure that we keep more of your money. Because I tell everybody, anybody can earn, anybody can spend, but who keeps the most, that's the real winner. And so let's go into it. What's your tax strategy? I want to go over a few legalities. Truth Induced is not associated with any company, nor was Truth Induced endorsed, paid, or compensated any financial income to share the factual information within this presentation by another financial company. Truth Induced does not guarantee any strategy shown in this presentation, nor does Truth Induced participate in the advice through presentation with the intent to entice, persuade, or manipulate any individual towards a decision. I want to make sure that we go over this extra disclaimer, and that is that this is not a tax loop, a tax shelter, or a tax scheme. The information shared in this presentation are tax law and tax code that are legally allowable to business owners with proper documentation. And so I want to stress that because all of this information may be new to you, and usually unknown information comes off kind of skeptical. But the great thing about this information, ladies and gentlemen, had I been 2 years into this industry, I'd be saying, I think I found something. But after 24 years, I think I know what I know. And I'm proud to share this information with you. And why I take so much pride is because it's not my opinion. Everything that I'm sharing with you is written in black and white. It's law. And so, but I love to start out with this question because it really puts us in the frame of mind of where I want to go with this presentation. What's the difference between the rich, the poor, and the middle class? And when you look at this, what do the poor do? They just buy stuff and they buy stuff and they buy stuff. Nothing actually comes in, but yet and still they can buy stuff. And so, what I want you to think about is, what do the middle class do? The middle class purchase liabilities and assume that the assets, the new house, the new car, but they didn't tell you they building a mountain of debt in the background. And if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, credit is debt. But what do the rich do? They purchase assets, but not any particular kind of assets. They purchase assets that do three things, and I want you to focus on that as we go through this. But when you look at this, I really want you to Google the word assets for me. I really want you to Google that word. And when you Google it, you're going to notice that there's actually a list. But the real task that I want you to look on that list and see how many things you actually own on that list. You see, I want people to start spending rich. And that's what rich thinkers do. They buy assets, things that add to your net worth and your value. And so when you look at this, you want to think about this. This is rich thinking. I think that Robert Kiyosaki said that vocabulary won't make you rich, but a lack of vocabulary is worse than being broke because you'll never know how to get out that brokenness state of mind. And so when we look at this vocabulary, I want to share with you the definitions of these words for this presentation so that we in accord. And passive income for this presentation is no more than income being taxed at the lowest rate. This is what we do, something that you buy that's being taxed low. Cash flow is money being deposited into your account and spent from that very same account. See, you have to create that circulation, and preferably a business account, not a personal account attached to your social security number. And then residual income is just money made with no effort, slow and for sure. And see, I want you to think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody watching this, I want you to think about, what's the last thing that you bought? Think about the last thing that you bought. Did it create a passive income that eventually turned into a cash flow of residual income? This is what the rich buy. I want you to think about that. See, we want to make sure that we're creating something that's going to flow passively, being taxed at a low rate that requires very little you. You want a cash flow, consistently creating that circulation, and we know residual, it just never stops. And so this is what the rich buy. I want you to think about that because I want us to start thinking rich as we go through this. Now, who can be rich? If anybody, why not you? And I want you to think about that. Anybody can be rich, but then why not you? Because when I ask this question in person, very few people classify themselves as rich. And so as we go through this, I want to share with you what I believe plagues this country right now. And that's a lack of financial literacy. And so in between this presentation, I'd like to share with you some of the diseases that I believe that is affecting this country. And it's consumerism is number one. Impulsive spending. There's a statistic that says 80% of what you purchase, you don't want or you don't need. It's either unwanted or unneeded. 80%. I challenge you to look in your bank statements and make sure if that statement is true for you. And then next is in indebtedness, borrowing too much. Right now, you can borrow money and not even have a job. I don't understand that. But it's possible in this country right now because they believe in keeping the people in debt. And what we're going to discuss this evening is excessive taxation. You're being taxed at a level I don't think you understand. And you don't realize it's your duty as an American tax-paying citizen to lower that as legal as you can, as much as you can. And so I want to share with you some ways we can do that. Here's another question I love to ask. What's the greatest expense that you'll incur in your entire lifetime? And I want you to think about something you spend your money on from the day you were born to the day you leave us. You see, on the day you were born, you breathe air in that hospital. That costs money and taxes was being paid on you. When the doctor hit your back, ladies and gentlemen, taxes were being paid on you. But did you know when you die, you have to file your taxes one more time? Even in this country, I mean, even when you're dead in this country, you have to file taxes. So if you didn't know, the greatest expense that you'll incur in your lifetime is taxes, when most people think it's their home, children, and education. I want to share with you that it's taxes, ladies and gentlemen. You pay so much taxes, you might not realize it. And so what we're going to do is go over a few of those. And when you look at it, I want you to think about this. Think about your lifestyle, housing, transportation, food, clothing. I want you to add all of those up and understand that taxes exceed all of those combined. And when you look at this, you really start to realize, how much taxes am I paying? Think about it. Taxes has been woven into every aspect of our community. In this society, in America, you're going to pay taxes everywhere. It's tied in with everything. And so we want you to understand, here's a list that a few taxes that you may be paying. Now, you may not be paying all of them, but I want you to realize a lot of them are being taxed to you. And the main one mostly is that local income tax, because a lot of people, especially my retirees, tell me, I don't pay taxes. Well, every time you purchase something in any city, any state, any county, you are paying a local income tax. And that tax is being taxed every time you make a purchase. And so what we want to do is teach you, where are your dollars going? And if you can see, you're literally paying the military. And so, and they label it as discretionary spending. And so, as we know, where our tax and by law, we must collect the tax, is what the country is telling us. And so, this is why I go around the country asking every individual, what's your tax strategy? And when I say what's your tax strategy, what I specifically mean is, what do you do specifically to lower your tax liability? Because most people don't even realize you can have a strategy when it comes to taxes. Some people just go in, give everything to their accountant or their tax professional, and hope for the best. That's synonymous to saying that your doctor takes care of your health. Your tax professional does not take care of your taxes, ladies and gentlemen. You do. And so we want to get you some information today so that you can be more informed, so you can demand a better preparation. And that's the goal. And so what I want to teach you is that there's two tax systems. You see, one for employees and one for business owners. And in the case of employees, they're taxed up to 12 times. They're given few deductions, it's limited to certain schedules. Earning actually hurts their tax bracket. They're taxed on their income before they even receive it. And you're usually given a retirement date of 20 years. But in the case of business owners, they're taxed after business expenses. Over 500 deductions you qualify for. You can use all schedules. Earning is actually encouraged. Earnings are offset by your expenses. And your success date determines when you retire as a business owner. And if I was to ask you which is the best option, of course, everybody would say the business owner. Well, then share with me and wonder, like I wonder, why did 80% of our country choose to be employees? Because you heard, just like Rodney heard, go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. And it's nothing wrong with the job because it does provide a living. But if you have an opportunity to work on a fortune at the same time, I think you should take that opportunity. And that's what a business ownership does. It allows you not only to earn a living, but work on your fortune at the same time. Because as an employee, you have one goal when it pertains to taxes, to lower your tax liability. And business owners have one goal, increase deductions, find more. What else can I write off, Rodney? But this is why I love home-based business. Because if you're an employee, it allows you to not only lower your tax liability, but it's going to increase deductions that you never even knew about. And as a business owner, why I love travel as part of your business portfolio, because it unlocks every tax deduction anywhere you go in the world. And so it just makes sense to have travel as a part of your business portfolio. If you're a business owner with multiple businesses, that's great. You need to add travel to that portfolio. And this is why it's so many things. You see, there's a philosophy that says that people are a product of their environment. I don't believe that to be true, ladies and gentlemen, because I know people are chiming in on this Zoom from every state in this country. It doesn't matter that I'm in Dallas, Texas. Wherever you are not a product of your environment. You're a product of the information. You see, I believe truly that people are a direct reflection of the information that they believe as truth. And so, what I want to do this evening is share some information with you that can change your life. I truly believe once you know this information, it will change your life, at least financially. And that's what my goal is. Because you have to understand in this country, ladies and gentlemen, tax law is the truth. You see, there are no opinions in my industry. You either can or you can't. And that's what's great about this industry. If you can, it's written in black and white. But guess what? If you can't, it's written in black and white. And so there are no opinions, there are no gray areas. It's only what you know. And so my goal this evening is to change your information so I can change your life, at least financially. And that's the goal this evening. Who am I? Rodney K. Lamb. 23 years, now going on 24 years in the industry, 21 as a pro, 17 going on 18 now as a firm owner. My education stems from my education in Bachelor of Science in Humanities, and my minor is business management. My tax credentials stem from TaxWise University, SFS University. I'm a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals. I'm PTIE certified, meaning I can charge and do your taxes for a profit. But I think it's most important you know I'm the Ethan holder, meaning we own the firm and not just work for it. Few accolades I'm proud of, still currently the #1 review pro in the USA. And that's clients chiming in, giving their opinion of their experience. We've been able to grow this ideal to 1,500 clients across 32 states in this country. And we're very proud of the reviews of my clients chiming in. I've been able to join these organizations, which allow me to put designation behind my name. So no longer am I a tax professional, I'm now a tax specialist. And CTRS is a certified tax resolution specialist. So I'm one step below a lawyer, tax lawyer, if you were ever to get audited. In the NFEI, it's just a national financial education instructor. I'm also a money coach. So we like to share the information that I can share. So just to share with everybody, I'm qualified to share this information with you this evening. Over 13 years, my most proud accolade is with the A plus with the BBB, with zero financial complaints. They said that was phenomenal to have that many clients in that many states and not one person complained. And I want to share with them what I share with you, ladies, and I mean, share with you what I share with them. Good news travels just as fast as bad news. And I'm just happy this evening that the good news has reached you. And so we just want to share with you. But this evening, we want to talk about business. And if I was in your face, I would pick on somebody and ask, what is your definition of business? And I want you to rhetorically think about that because everybody on this line is either a business owner or considering business ownership. And when you think about that, have you even thought about what's the definition of the word? And so when you look at this, it's an activity of exchange with money or barter for goods or services. And the one thing I want you to leave this screen with is activity of exchange. Please know if you're not exchanging even information, ladies and gentlemen, there is no business being conducted. You don't necessarily have to have money or goods exchange, but at least a conversation so that there's business. And I always share that with my travel agents because your direct job description is to get the experience and share it with others. And so we want travel agents to understand and know your job description makes you in business. So always stay in a business mode. The problem is that we have a business and no business plan. We're just wondering generalities. So let's be a meaningful specific and let's put our plan together. That's what the solution is. And if you're on this Zoom, then this part of planning, you're strategizing right now. And so I want you to think about that. The thing about a plan is so many aspects to it. And so tonight we'll be specifically talking about the financial planning. And when you look at that, you want to talk about why. Why travel? But not just why travel as your business? Because I'll say it short and sweet. You travel anyway. So you should make it your business. But I want to give you a few quotes. A tax is a compulsory payment for which no specific benefit is received. This is what the US Treasury thinks of a tax. Why don't we feel this way? You see, two words I want you to focus on: compulsory payment. Why are we using words like compulsory in the land of the free? You see, the truth is that we have such a limited budget, such limited power, manpower to enforce the income tax laws and collect the revenue, that the only way we can keep them honest in paying their taxes is to keep them afraid. And when they say them, ladies and gentlemen, they mean me and you. They literally apply fear tactic so that you will pay a tax. And so we want to give you some information so that you're not so afraid about what the IRS is possible of doing. And here's my favorite. You get a raise every time you can legitimately avoid paying a tax on something. And this is from the CPA, Mr. George Brown. Two words I want you to focus on: legitimately avoid. Because I'm not here telling you to evade taxes, ladies and gentlemen. Tax evasion is illegal. There are several celebrities with money that can prove and be proof that tax evasion is illegal. However, did you know tax avoidance is not illegal? It is not illegal to avoid a tax that was put on you. Matter of fact, these laws were written 106 years ago. And I don't think anybody on this Zoom was alive when these laws were written. So how come we don't know the laws that was written hundreds of years ago to avoid a tax? And so it's a gap of information not being shared. And so we want to make sure we share that information so that you know. But this is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, if you're already in the act of traveling, then travel should be your business. Just that simple. I could stop the presentation right here on why you should be a business owner. But I want to share with you some of the advantages of being a business owner in the world of travel. Right now, I have a few deductions on the screen. And if you're not a travel business owner right now, you're probably thinking, these are my everyday expenses of my life. But to us travel business owners, we see this as 9 deductions because we want you to understand each one of those yellow tabs represents a deduction for a travel agent. And so I literally want you to see that your job as a travel agent, as a business owner, into tax deductible expenses in the name of business. It just makes sense. And so what I know is you think it's just 9 deductions because you see 9 yellow tabs. But I happen to know that there are over 491 more tax deductions that you qualify for. But when you look at this screen, you'll think that's your entire life. But if you wear glasses, I know that we can write your glasses and your prescription off in the name of business because you probably can't do your job effectively without them. And so it's so much more you can write in the name of business you may just not know. There are literally 500 plus deductions. And I tell every business owner it is your duty, not request, it is your duty to unlock every one of these deductions that apply to you. And that's the great thing about taxes. It's an individual experience. And so I can be vague on these presentations, but until we talk individually, I can cater these deductions directly to you. If you're on the line this evening and you are not joined yet, you're kind of thinking about it. Did you know you've already received a tax deduction? Because thinking about a business is even a deduction. Let me tell you what the law states. The tax laws allows you the deduction for startup expenses. Think of it as the money you spend while you're thinking about or investigating the business. So many deductions. Let me give you a list of things you could rack up before you even start the business. Travel expenses to gain the knowledge, training, entertainment, cost incurred, books, automobile expenses, fees. While you can start accruing these expenses, ladies and gentlemen, the expense does not start or account until you actually start the business. And this is why I encourage everybody, get off the fence. Don't think about it. Get started. And all of those expenses that you incurred, like being on the internet tonight, watching this presentation, tax deductible in the name of business. Congratulations. It just makes sense because the goal is to transition your everyday expenses and the tax deductible expenses legally. And I stress the word legal because, again, none of this is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. All of this is written in black and white. You don't have to wonder. You heard it from a specialist this evening. If someone tells you about something in my industry, you just merely ask them, can you show me? Because a tax specialist told me you should be able to show me instead of just telling me what I can't do. Because no one really shares with you what you can do. They sell that to you. and then they tell you for free what you can't do. Well, that's not the goal this night. We wanted to make sure that everybody get this information so that you can take advantage of it. Let's talk about a red flag in an audit. What is a red flag? A red flag is no more than a tax deduction or tax credit that bounces your return out the computer and invites an auditor. There are only four instances that bring about a red flag: expenses or credits not associated with your business, items of lavish or extravagant nature for personal or recreational use, large deductions out of line with the amount of income you're reporting, and abusive use of deductions. If you have not committed one of these four violations, you should not hear the words red flag from your professional's mouth. That's code for I don't know how to do your taxes. And so, just like the IRS, they'll scare you with tax jargon and tax vocabulary till you say, you know what, let's just leave it alone. I don't want to raise any red flags. But if you haven't done one of those four violations, then no red flags will be raised. And so we want to share with you the facts. What is an audit? The IRS looking to prove that the information on the return is accurate, the deduction is legal, and that the income is honestly stated. That's not bad by definition, ladies and gentlemen. And so I tell everybody there's a stigma attached to the word to the point that the IRS no longer does audits. They call a procedure conducting examinations now. They figure, why the euphemism? I don't understand. They think if you see the word audit, you won't show up. But if you see conduct an examination, you may just show up. And so we just want everyone to understand. Let's look at some statistics. If you happen to make under 25,000, just a 1.2% chance you'll be audited. 2.5 for 25 to 100, 100 to 200, 4.7, and 3.3, 200,000 and up. So where are the audits? Where are all these travel agents getting in trouble for putting travel on their taxes? It's not happening. And this is amongst 80 million business owners in the country right now. And so what I've concluded is that audit is not a bad thing unless you're lying. See, if you're not lying about the gas you paid, what are we afraid of? If you're not lying about paying your rent and your mortgage, why are we not afraid? Because that's not your house, that's corporate headquarters. So if you really bought those clothes, those marketing clothes for convention, then we're gonna really write that off. It's so many things that you're just missing because you've been misinformed. And so we just want to make sure that you get the right information this evening. Here's another fact of fiction. After 3 to 5 years of taking a business loss, the IRS is going to audit you. Fiction. We want you to understand by law, you have up to 22 years you can record a business loss consecutively. Now, you may, somewhere in between, if you could take a 20-year loss, the IRS may want to know what are you doing differently to change it. And so I share with all business owners, we don't open business to lose. And so the only way you can prove that you don't intend to lose is show your business intention with a business plan. And I tell all business owners, business plan is step one. And so make sure that you know the law is on your side, not hear the myths and the fiction and the lies of my industry. We want to make sure that you know the law is definitely on your side. What are my liabilities as a business owner? You see, most people don't realize they're used to filing their taxes just once and twice if you're in a state filing tax. But if you have products, now you have sales tax. If you're a LLC or above, you now have franchise tax. And if you have employees, you have payroll taxes. You could easily go from filing one time to 9 times a year, ladies and gentlemen, just depending on your entity structure. So it's very important that you strategize and entity structure your business properly in the beginning. So many people ask me, should I be LLC or S Corp? It just depends on what are your business goals. And so I do want to give a warning. If you are LLC and above, please go file your BOI report before December 31st. That is real, ladies and gentlemen. Want to make sure that you get that filed. And so as you're doing your taxes and structure of your business is very key. I always tell everybody in an MLM structure, you don't have to go so far if you don't until the money says so. So a simple DBA should be enough with an EIN. And so definitely want to make sure you structure your business right. The IRS has two rules, ladies and gentlemen: spend it or give it to them. What would you rather do? That question is simple, right? But when you spend it, you have to spend it in the name of business, not in the name of you. And so, what you may have not known is that 80% of Congress owns a home based business. And so they literally write law for themselves. And anyone with a home based business get the advantage of having that law written for them as well. And so one of those laws is, according to Congress, not Rodney, any taxpayer who runs a legitimate home-based business, whether part-time, full-time, or spare time, need only meet two requirements. Run the business on a regular and consistent basis. That's 10 hours a week, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to realize that there's 168 hours in a week. I'm sure everybody on this Zoom can dedicate 10 hours to qualify your business and then run the business with the intent to make a profit. In my 20 plus years, I've yet to meet one business owner who didn't intend to make a profit. But in my industry, intent has to be taken out of the mind and put in proof and documentation. And again, a business plan. You have to prove your business intentions in writing. And so these are very easy requirements to make that business legal, especially for people who say, I just don't have time to work a business. Even in your spare time, you can make this one work. And this is why I believe the home based business is truly the best tax strategy ever. And literally, you can make sure that you transition your entire life into a tax deduction. Okay, let's talk about deductions and credit. What is a deduction? A deduction is an expense associated with your business that qualifies for a deduction. What that means is truckers and travel agents have similar deductions, but they are not the same. Every business is given a business code, and that code determines what deductions are unlocked. Where the trucker has to stop when his truck get to the water, the travel agent can continue in the plane and the deductions continue anywhere you go in the world. And so let's say you earn 40,000, you're in a 15% bracket, and you roughly owe the IRS 6,000. And let's say $1,000 deduction, let's just say it's the gas that you drove so far this year. What's going to happen is they're going to take that 1,000 from your AGI, giving you a new AGI of 39,000. They're going to multiply it by your bracket. And as you can see, your tax liability went down from the gas you already paid for. But what if we use 10,000 of gas, what we really paying, and not just 1,000? Do you know really we can remove that entire $6,000 debt with just the expenses that you have to pay anyway? It just makes sense because see, that's not your home. It's corporate headquarters. That's not your car. It's a company vehicle. Those are not your clothes. Those are business uniforms. And so, but what if I didn't owe, Rodney? What if I receive something? Would it be okay to add an extra 6,000 on top of what you are already receiving? See, if you get a $4,000 refund, how about a $10,000 refund? It just makes sense, and that's how powerful the deductions are. But what are credits? Credits are tax breaks meant to stimulate the economy. What that means is they go and they come every year, they change. And they usually show them after the fiscal cliffs. But what I want you to realize is see how credit really works in your favor. You're in the 40,000 bracket, 15, oh, 6,000. You receive $1,000 credit, what could be simply light bulbs, energy efficient light bulbs, $26 for those. Now you get $1,000 credit. As you can see, the credit comes directly from your liability. So instead of owing 6,000, now you owe 5,000. I want you to see with just this scenario how we tax professionals use credits and deductions to completely wipe out a debt, especially for business owners. But what if you didn't owe? What if you were receiving something? We literally can put thousands on top of your refund the very same way. And so I want people to understand the way it removes a debt is the same way it adds thousands to your refund. You just have to know how to move credits and deductions in your favor and making sure that you're looking for those. As you can see, credits are more valuable, but those deductions are created in stone. They don't change. So my life is to teach you to revolve your life around those deductions. And every year you and I find credits that fit you because you know what you do throughout the year. Some people buy solar, some don't. That's a great credit. And so these are things that you can do throughout the year, but you know what you're going to do. Put your strategy together ahead of time. My homeowners, they have mortgage interest, real estate, and so many taxes, especially if you live by a school. But what if it's Schedule A or Schedule C? Everybody asks. When you itemize, it's like getting 3% of your money back. And Schedule C is like getting 60% of your money back. And so I asked the business owners, which is best? And everybody says 60. Well, why not both? Because you qualify for both. We call this the double deduction. This is paying Chase 25,000 once and receiving a $50,000 deduction. It just makes sense for you to be able to write off something that you intend or have to pay anyway, because you bought it as your personal home, but once you become a business owner, we're going to transition it to corporate headquarters. And so, what about meals and entertainment? Literally, for the travel agent, this just makes sense because they're giving 100% deduction since 2018. And so, as you can see, meals as a part of a meeting you're attending, you might have a few people in your living room right now offering them refreshments. We're going to write those off in the name of business. Food, holiday parties, food and cost. I want you to understand you're going to be your first employee when I teach you the right information. We're going to write that off in the name of business. Meal as a part of a training and marketing presentation. This presentation is a great presentation for marketing and training. And so make sure you have a meal. If you're not, stop and get you a meal and let's write it off in the name of business. Here are a few things you have to do. They have to generate business, create goodwill, and thank employees for a job well done. And here's my trick question. Who's going to be your first employee? Of course, you are. And so, two tests they want you to pass, the directly related tests. Show the main purpose was the active conduct of business, the nature of business transacted, and the reason for conducting business. I teach everybody this is simply a sign-in sheet. Anytime Rodney start talking, I make sure I have sign-in sheets with me because I'm going to attract the group. And when I get the group, if it's a group, make sure everybody sign in for me so I can write this off in the name of business. You see, showing that the conduct is associated with your business, the associated test. Show that you held a business discussion to get income or other business benefit. And the key word I want you to see in the law, ladies and gentlemen, is business discussion. This is not Rodney's opinion. These laws were written before you and I. I just want you to understand, travel agents. Did you know if you just discuss your business by law, that can be a tax deduction or a taxable event? And so documentation is required. You'll hear a lot of this information get shared across stages, but nobody tell you the back end on how to keep the right documentation to get this deduction. And so that's why we wanted to make sure that we show you, you have to make sure your paperwork matches your story. And so these are the things that we want people to understand. Spouse expense. Everybody's spouse doesn't get started equally. That's either his business or that's her business. But once you start making money and we have a convention at one of those Vegas by yourself. And so now it's our business. And so we want to definitely make sure that we be able to write our spouses off. So pass out these cards, look alive, and we're going to make sure we get these deductions for you as well. And so these are great things already written in. And soon, hopefully, both spouse will be involved in the business operations. And since we're talking about operations, let's look at some of the operational expenses. Did you know a company can change its business uniform 5 times every quarter? Now, it's not advantageous and profitable for a company to give employees different clothes every quarter. But for you, the travel agent who own your own company, what do you wear for your business? You see, Walmart wears Walmart t-shirts, Rodney wears Gucci. That's what I choose to wear. And so I believe you can go in your closet and find your most expensive clothes and deem them as business uniform. And so a lot of people that tell you, well, you have to have your name on the clothes. Well, get you a pen that says the name of your company and pin it on, please. It's so many ways for you to take advantage. But the key thing is document, document, document. Make sure that you're in events, being seen in those clothes. Take pictures in your business clothes at events and make sure that you're using your uniform as you should, travel agents. And we know our travel agent uniform can really get extensive. Shades, flip flops, snorkel gear, all types of things, bathing suits. And so just make sure you're spending first from your business account so you're not commingling that expense. Phone. Whose phone is that you have? You shouldn't have said yours. You should have said the business's phone. Now, one thing me and the IRS do understand is you may have opened that account to your social security number. But did you know you can make one free phone call with a free EIN and switch that over to a business account for free? And now Rodney can write off 100% of your cell phone bill, not just a portion of it. It just makes sense to do these things when you just don't know. So we want to make sure you get informed, make sure you have the right information so you can make the best decision. Getting your hair done, ladies, getting your nails done, that's all part of that. Looking good for your company. You have to market, correct? And so we want you to understand, pay from your business account and I can write those things off. These are things you're going to do anyway. And we know entertainment literally is our business. It is our job to go to the movies and tell you which one is good and which one is bad. So don't stream, go out, purchase, and share. We want people to understand they have free websites on social media. Record yourself out in the name of business and write it off in the name of business. What does Oprah do every year? She gives away. But when does she give away? December is coming up, right? So I encourage every philanthropist, business owner on this phone to take your name off your Christmas gifts this year and put your business card on it because you should give that gift in the name of business and not in the name of you. And we're going to write off Christmas just like Oprah. And you see, I know it's some professionals on here saying a business gift is only $25. But I want you to understand marketing and promotional items are 100% tax deductible. And so make sure you market your business this Christmas coming up and share in the name of business, not in the name of you. Every time we go out to eat, travel agents, who is the one person we are going to activity of exchange with and have a discussion? The waiter. That's the one person you let them know, hey, I'm going to talk to you before I leave, but you have 24 hours to talk business. So right now, I'm going to eat and enjoy my meal. And so make sure you exchange information before you leave, and let's write that meal off in the name of business. It just makes sense. And so I want to give you a 15-letter word that the IRS is using against us, and that word is contemporaneous. And they're using this because at the time you incur this expense, you should have documented it. And that's where they get most travel agents because you can write so much off, but you're not making sure your paperwork matches your story. And some of you may even be spending in your personal accounts. All of that is okay. Don't worry about it because support records must be created and documented at the time you claim the deduction. And so a receipt should have been recorded and proof of purchase. And usually in a log or a diary that we like to call a tax diary. And this will help travel agents keep up with these expenses because it's so difficult to separate your personal life from your business life because lifestyle is your business. You see, four elements to prove that to satisfy with the IRS. And that's the time, that's the amount, that's the place, and the business purpose. And as you can see, a receipt would have the time, amount, and place, but it would not have the business purpose. And this is where your individual log would have to show what is the business purpose of this expense. And so I guarantee that they will look for these four elements when you're claiming business deductions. So you want to make sure that you have all of those answers. Now, how do we turn that home into a place of business? They say a business must carry a bona fide business. By bona fide, they mean the business part of your home must be exclusive, regular, and for your trade or business. And it must be one of the following, ladies and gentlemen, when I saw this law. Your principal place of business, check. A place where you meet and chill, meet and deal with customers in a normal course of business, check. A separate structure you use in connection with your trade or business. In English, this is just the biggest room in your home. because we receive tax advantages based on the square footage. So why would we pick the smallest room? And so you just pick the biggest room for number three. But when you look at this, it's so many deductions that you can pick up when dealing with a corporate headquarters. Utilities, rent, furniture, even your cleaning supplies are tax deductible because you have a restroom. And if you have potential clients over and partners over, then you definitely want to make sure that the restroom area is clean. And so now those cleaning supplies are even tax deductible. There's so many ways that you can rack up deductions. And this is one of my favorite because it's the most missed deduction. You are literally, look on the side of the road, you are literally driving by thousands of dollars of money because most people just forget to document. And it's so easy today. I like to use this acronym MAPS. MAPS is an acronym that I want every travel agent to use every time you move. Because every time you move, it could potentially be for business. And so you want to make sure that you're marketing, advertising, prospecting, and selling all the time that you're out in society. Because I say make it for a business. Because think about it, all of these things equal cost and they spend money, which is great tax deductions. But we're not in business to lose. So I always encourage my business owners to stay selling because selling is the only thing that will lead to profits, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just market, advertise, and prospect and don't sell. And so make sure you're out there selling as well because you have to make some money. You can't just spend money in business. You have to make it as well. And so one of my favorite deductions is hire your kids. But in this world, we don't call them kids because they're not your kid anymore. They're now your contractor. And so we're going to hire our contractors. And the great part about it is this year is you get a deduction up to $12,950 per child. You see a mother of four and you tell her she has a $48,000 tax deduction if she join your business, then she don't care what business you in. She just need to know what business she needs to join so she can get that tax deduction. And this is a great marketing tool when you understand this information. The laws, the requirements are simple. A W-9 on file, that's a free download. Uh, Provide a 1099 of the income for the child. You can get a pack of 20 at any office store and create a contract of services. I tell every parent, write the chores down, erase the word chores, and write job description. And now everything is legal in law. But you have to buy uniforms, you have to pay for the meals, and you pay for the lessons and activities. But wouldn't it make sense to pay your child and they buy their own uniform? You pay your child first and they pay for their own meal. I literally pay my daughter first and she pays for her own Krav Maga. And so it's so many things that you can do that I have to do anyway. But how about I get a tax deduction for it? It just makes sense. We teach you financial responsibility at an early age, and you keep it more of the money that you have to spend anyway. Makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. If you're earning money, I think it's important that you know or hear how your money should flow, in my opinion. And so, what I think that everybody, if you make income, the first thing you want to do is take it to the bank. Do not go spend it first. And this is for track record purposes. You want to make sure that you have a good record of how much income is coming in. And when you look at that, you want to put that in a business account, not a personal account, not a savings account, not a high yielding, nothing. Everything that goes to the EIN. And once you do that, we know rule number one is pay yourself first, business owners. And rule number two is pay the taxes owed on that money. Now we can actually realize what's yours. Until you do those two things, you have not realized what's actually yours. It's like a net and a gross. And so when you look at that, once we realize what's ours, let's pay debt because we understand debt affects our financial future, whereas bills don't. They might cut off your lights, but it won't affect you 5 years from now. And so we want to make sure we pay debt first before we pay our bills. And then we want to make sure we take care of taxes, federal, state, city, and payroll. And if you're not set up, please get you a free federal deposit account. Doesn't cost a dollar. And you have an opportunity to go in there every 3 months and send money on a good windfall. And after that, what are we going to do? We're going to spend on business expenses because it's time to spend in the name of business so that we can incur and grow more income. And then we know we're going to purchase assets, not liabilities, because we are rich thinkers now. So, and assets are counted as liquid money. And when we do that, we're just going to invest those profits. And when we get investment profits, now we just put that back into the bank, ladies and gentlemen. And the only thing that's left is liabilities. But we don't consider liabilities to the business owner because we just transition those into tax deductions. And so this is a great way for you to write everything off, roll your income through this scenario, and make sure that you write everything else off in the name of business. And this is how you keep 100% of your money. And so, one thing I want to do and share with every business owner here is your monthly activity is so important, especially because that determines if it's personal or business. Few things I suggest you do is that's keep your business purpose fully intact. And I mean, pursuing it, staying on it consistently. Keep a calendar. Make sure you keep a travel business calendar. I like to call it a log or a tax diary because the IRS does require travel agents specifically to keep up one weekly. You should be keeping up with this weekly. And so I suggest daily, just so you can make sure you're working your business every day and document this. And when you document it, keep this in a safe location so that it's accessible. And then make sure that you're spending enough time on your business, ladies and gentlemen. 10 hours a week is what's required, but a business day is 4 hours and 1 minute. And so if you ever on vacation or out of your tax home, you make sure you're documenting 4 hours and 1 minute of the 24 hours in the name of business. And then you want to make sure you're keeping good records of all of this and log everything weekly. This will provide the proof if you're ever asked. And so we share with everybody. If you're not making money, a lot of people say, I didn't make any money, so I didn't put the business on. Well, that's bad because you spent money. We're going to write off what you spent, not what you made. So keeping a log proves business activity when you aren't making any profits. And so I share with every business owner, always document, document, document. You don't have to make profits to get the deduction. But if you didn't know, if you're not active, you will lose that entire month of tax deductions. And this is why I tell everybody that activity is so important. Even when you're not making money, stay active because that's going to unlock all of those tax deductions for you. And so at the end of the year, most of that refund is as a result of those tax deductions. And so we encourage everybody to stay active because we don't want you to lose your entire month of tax deductions. At this point, a lot of people say, well, I didn't get those deductions, Rodney. The tax pro said I couldn't have them. And I filed my taxes. Well, no worries. You have 3 years to fix it after the file date. And so if you saw some of this information, missed some of this, and been in travel for a few years, at least three, let's make sure we go get your money. That's not the IRS money. That's why they give you 3 years so you can fix it because they understand this information is not shared. And so don't leave your money on the table. And it's the real reason why it's yours. Just that simple. And so if you haven't heard anything I've said, ladies and gentlemen, please remember this. Documentation beats conversation every time with the IRS. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to see the proof. And so what value really is value is what a product or service does for you. And tonight specifically, we talking about travel and tax advantages. And I want to show you the value of travel and how the taxes, because this home-based business turns any price into a tax deduction, no matter what the price is. It turns any cost, because we know price and cost are two different things. Price is one time, cost continue. But the cost continuing will be tax deductions. Home-based business turns time into tax deduction. This is one of the few things that can monetize time, and I like it. Home-based business turns everyday expense. But more than anything, and what I like the most is home-based business turns taxes into tax deduction. Now your taxes are even tax deductible because you're not getting your taxes done. the company is. And so, if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, home based business is value to you. And I truly believe that. And so, what I want to do is share with you 11 strategies to audit proof your home based business. And so, proof of admin use, regular use, and exclusive use is important. I put those as the top three because you have to prove that and it has to be written and documented. Don't rent the area you claim you're doing business in. Earn income, $600. Go after that 1099 is what I strive and tell all my business owners. Classify repairs properly. If you do travel parties and have decks on your home, make sure you designate that area as so. Prove your expenses, depreciate correctly, because there's a lot of equipment that can be done, but people are depreciating it longer than the time frame. Landscaping, that is a tax deduction. Stop cutting the yard, gentlemen, unless it's just therapy to you. Otherwise, go ahead and rack up that tax deduction. The phone bill, a home or a line attached to your address is a great strategy as well because the IRS really does credentialize the home when there's a number associated with it. And last but not least, document everything. I can't say it enough. Document everything. Documentation beats conversation every time. They just want to see the proof, ladies and gentlemen. And I share with everybody in my industry, your intentions cannot be held in your mind. You can't share the story. They want to see it in writing. They probably gonna have you just fax it to them. And so you just want to make sure that you have everything documented. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for taking out in your evening to learn more about your business, some advantages that can help add money to your situation. And so this is a great thing, and I'm looking forward. If you're on the website, visit truthandeuce.biz. We have so many tax tips and so many tax videos to help you get some understanding and catch up. Give me a call. We can talk about it. Email me if you like the email. I definitely make sure I answer you. And if you want 15 to 20 years of information, you can visit our Facebook/Tax Truth. I've been posted on there and giving information for years. And so you could definitely go there. Instagram, we just started. And so we can definitely get you some information there. But we wanted to make sure people have access to this information for free. You normally have to pay upwards of $2,500 for this information. But we wanted to make sure you get it for free so you can demand a better preparation. And I just want to give a big salute to Mr. Michael Broner for just putting this together and Dr. Jessica Johnson for making sure that everybody on here, I see we touched 100 people this evening. And it's important that 100 people share this information. I tell everybody, do not commit the sin of the desert. You know where the water is and you won't tell nobody. And so share this information. I didn't charge you, so don't charge them. And just let's make sure everybody win. And y'all will see good news travel just as fast as bad news. And with that, I just want y'all to really support us. You see, a lot of this information we're doing through our nonprofit, LAM Education. And so LAM stands for Learning Applied Money Basics. We teach financial literacy to the youth through adult, teenage through adult. And so we appreciate any donation. If you appreciate this information this evening, it helped you a little bit, saved you some money, go ahead and share it. Pay it forward. We appreciate the deduction. And like I tell everybody, that deduction, that donation is 100% tax deductible as well. It's a great way for you to get some charity in before the end of the year and rack up yet another tax deduction. And so, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give it back to Dr. Johnson. And if we have some questions, you know I have an answer.